go to all-electric cars. How's that going to work? They don't go far. They're too expensive. They're made in China. And on day one, I end the all-electric mandate. And I'm a fan of electric cars. Elon Musk, frankly, gave me the most beautiful endorsement. He endorses me all the time. He says, this is the only guy that's going to save our country. He's been very generous. And I think he makes an unbelievable product. But you have to be able to also sell gasoline-powered cars. You know, we have gasoline, and they want to use something that we don't have, but China has, because for the batteries and everything, China has and controls that market. But the problem is they don't go far, and they have other problems, like if it's cold, you get a little bit cold up here, they don't work too well in the cold. There are a lot of problems, and a lot of assets, too. And he's going to do great. His car is fantastic, but you have to be able to have other types, like hybrids. Hybrids are, you know, good. It's a good thing. You have to be able to do that. So I'm going to end that mandate. Can you imagine? They want to almost immediately go to all electric. And we don't have enough electric to take care of ourselves. You go to California, they have blackouts and brownouts every single day. California's a mess. They have the governor of California, Gavin Newsom. Has anybody ever heard of him? But worse, they had an attorney general and a DA who destroyed San Francisco and then destroyed California. And I hate to say, because I have a lot of land in California, I hate to speak badly about places, but frankly, my presidency is much more important than my land. Isn't it nice to know? With Biden, it's the other way around. But my presidency is much more important than my land or my business. And I will say it, California is getting hurt so badly. She destroyed San Francisco, absolutely destroyed San Francisco, and now she wants to destroy our country. She was a horrible attorney general. You could steal $950 worth of merchandise for a store and you wouldn't get prosecuted. But anything above that, you wouldn't get prosecuted either. She was a horrible attorney general. She was a horrible DA. She was a DA of San Francisco. That was the beginning of the end. San Francisco was possibly the best city in our country 15, 18 years ago, and now it's not livable. We're going to bring them all back. We're going to bring the cities back, but it's not even livable. So Pennsylvania is a very important place, and it's, you know, I went to school here. I went to college here, as you know, and it's a great, great place. It's a fabulous place, the Commonwealth, and we're going to make you very happy. All of those things that we talked about are very easily solvable with you. That's such an easy, that could be done in one day. I had a cabinet maker. He said, sir, China and South Korea are dropping cabinets into our country for nothing, and I can't compete. And I studied it, and I ended up putting a 50 or 75% tariff on all cabinets coming into the country. And I didn't know the guy. I met him previous to going in to the presidency. And I saw him 4 years later. He said, sir, you saved my business. You saved the job. I expanded. They stopped with the dumping. And the steel, the same thing. I think the steel people like me the best. Unfortunately, Biden's let it go. I put tariff. They were dumping Chinese steel into our country, David, at levels that nobody's ever seen before. We've never seen anything like it. And I put a 50% tariff on all steel coming in from China and some other places too, but all steel. And we saved these companies, but Biden has let it go, and we need steel. Look, you know, there are some things you could get from outside, but if we're in a war and we need army tanks and we need ships and we need other things that happen to be made of steel, what are we going to do? Go to China and get the steel? We're fighting China, but do you mind selling us some steel? Think of it. These people don't know what they're doing. So I put big tariffs on steel. They were dumping steel, and it was bad steel, too. It was rotted, called rotted steel, bad steel. It was imperfect steel. People were building girders for buildings, and they check them, and they're not good. The steel wasn't good. But they were dumping at tremendous levels, and I ended the dumping of steel. But these people, since they took over this U.S. Steel, I would not allow that deal to happen. U.S. Steel, this was one of the greatest companies in the world. You go back 70 years, this was the big deal. United States Steel, and now they're going to let the Japanese buy it? I wouldn't let it happen. I'd help them so they can make the steel company good again. This was the biggest company in the world, the strongest company, had the biggest reputation. It represented our country, and now we're selling it to the Japanese. The psychology of that is unacceptable to me. So I wouldn't let that deal happen personally, but we'll see what happens. I hope it's going to be, I hope it won't have closed by the time I get there, but I would not let that deal happen. And you're right, they have other things. You look at China, they're opening up coal plants. Every week they're doing a big coal plant. And John Kerry, I watch this poor guy. This guy, it's so pathetic. He flies over in his own jet. You know, his wife has some money from a certain family, right? Yeah, right? And he's got a little jet. He flies over to China. He sees President Xi. Oh, yes, I will consider this very strongly. I will consider your request to stop building coal plants. And then he leaves. And he comes back. Oh, I had a good conversation. Nothing gets done. They're building coal plants. He had zero impact. But we don't build anything here. And what people don't understand is all that pollution in China, all the pollution everywhere in the world, much of it flies right over the United States, takes 3.5 days, comes in from China, and it's sometimes bad, and it flies right over the United States. So what are we going to do about that? But nobody ever discusses that. They don't want to talk about that. So we'll be nice and clean. Same thing with the oceans. You take a look, the Pacific, it flies in from, they dump it right in the ocean, and in about a week and a half, it's in, welcome to Los Angeles, California, and we're lifting it out of the ocean all day long. We have, it's a massive, big business. We're taking their garbage out of the ocean because it floats right to our West Coast, and other countries too. So it sounds bleak, but we'll get it all straightened out, and we'll get it straightened out fast. And I just want to thank Lee, and I want to thank everybody here. I'll tell you, Rick Grinnell has been amazing with me from just about the beginning. You know, he was the ambassador to Germany, and there was no happier woman in the world than Angela Merkel when I announced that I was taking Rick back to Washington and giving him an even higher position. This was the happiest woman in the world when she heard he was leaving Germany. And actually, in a certain way, she liked him, but in another way, he was sort of brutal because he understood what Germany was doing to the United States, one of the many countries that took advantage of the United States, and he got it. So I want to thank you, and you did a great job, and we appreciate it, and hopefully you'll be able to do a great job again. Thank you very much, Rick, and thank you, Lee.
Thank you, Mr. President. On behalf of Protecting American Initiative, thank you for being here, but thank you most importantly for seeing the threats to America, both militarily and economic, and we appreciate that. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Congressman, thank you very much. Great job you're doing. A warrior. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, very much.
Could you sign my hat?
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be with you. And a special group of people, the farmers. Nobody's done for farmers what I've done. Unfortunately, they haven't followed through. We made a deal with China. It was one of my best deals that I made. I made a lot of good deals, but we made the USMCA, Mexico, Canada, which was terrific. But we had a specific deal with China where they were going to buy $50 billion worth of farm product. And it's interesting how we got there because when the negotiation was going on, and it was a nasty negotiation, and I said to the farmers, just stick with me because we're going to do it. They're great negotiators. They're not going to go that fast. Just stick with me because you never had anybody negotiating for the farmers before me as president. And my people, I said, what are the numbers we're talking about? And they said 15 million, 15, not 50. I said, all right. So it's $15 billion worth of product that they were going to buy because they've been taking advantage of the farmers for years. This was like a penalty to China. And I thought they said 50, not 15. So the negotiations were going along. We were getting close. I said, how are you doing with the 50 billion? No, sir, we're close to 15. I said, what do you mean 15? You said 50. I said, no, I want 50. They said, that's not what we said. We said 15. I said, that's okay. Ask for 50. Tell them we have to have 50 billion, not 15. And I got it. The problem is, big problem, that now they don't enforce it. I enforced it. Every single week, I'd go into the office, I'd say, how's China doing? Because you have to live up to that commitment. I'd say, how's China doing buying the product? Good, sir, good. They're doing good. And they were doing good because they knew I was watching. I don't think Biden is exactly watching. Do you? Does anybody think that Biden is, let's check it? I don't think so. And it's a shame. And that number is way lower than it's supposed to be. So the first thing I'd do is I would probably, my first call, I'm going to call up President Xi. I'm going to say, you have to honor the deal you made. We made a deal. You'd buy $50 billion worth of American farm product, and I guarantee you he will buy it 100%. He will buy it. Second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say, you have to give the death penalty to your fentanyl dealers who are sending fentanyl. You know, in China, they give the death penalty. They don't have a drug problem because they give the death penalty. But I'm going to say second thing, and this affects you also. It affects everybody. We're losing hundreds of thousands of people a year. Comes through the southern border, now the weakest border in history. It was the best border we ever had when I was there. We built hundreds of miles of wall and everything else, and it was the best border. Now it's the weakest. I had a handshake deal with him. It was going to happen very quickly, and then this side didn't do anything about it. He said, and he suggested to me, anybody sends fentanyl to the United States, it's the death penalty. They get the maximum penalty. They would have done it, and then we had an election that didn't exactly work out too good, and it was a disgrace, frankly. And that deal went, and a lot of other bad things happened, like Russia